yeah. Talk whack to me, talk whack to me, yeah. Talk whack to me, talk whack to me. It's the WACCast podcast, yeah. Talk whack to me, talk whack to me, yeah. Talk whack to me, talk whack to me. Whoa, 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 whoa. What is up, Wack people? Well, first of all, I want to thank you all so much for tuning in this week and getting this Wack wisdom. I hope everything's amazing for you all as always. I am, of course, your host, Honorable OCT Octavius Haye, and this is the WACCast podcast. Before we continue with the show today, please, if you have not already and watching this on YouTube, like, subscribe, comment, and hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I'm dropping new content on this channel. If you're listening on the podcast platforms we're on, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, please make sure you follow that so you get those notifications as well. So with all that technical out the way, let's go ahead and talk whack to them. Let's talk whack to them. Okay, so something very weak, as you all may know by now, is that the Godfather, the leader, I would say, of the red pill community, the leader, I would say, of the manosphere, Kevin Samuels, has unfortunately passed away at the age of 57. A very, very, very sad shock. It was a rumor for like the whole day yesterday, but nobody was verifying it. It seems now we have at least it's been reported that his mother has verified that he's passed away. Of course, a lot of condolences out there for people that loved him, that knew him, that learned from him, like myself. It was said that he had met up with a 32-year-old woman the day before he passed away, and they were actually had spent the night together. And then the next day, he was complaining about chest pains, and I think she was going to be trying to help him because she was a nurse, and he ended up passing out on her. She called 911 to come for the ambulance. She was trying to revive. I think she even talked to the hotel staff to bring him something to try to help him out. She was trying to revive him, but unfortunately, he was not able to be revived, and we said Kevin Samuels has passed away. My condolences to his family and to his loved ones who knew him personally. Of course, I was just a fan. Us as fans, though, we are not just as hurt at all, but we are hurt. The Godfather meant a lot to a lot of people. But the Godfather also had his detractors. The Godfather also had people who did not like him, who did not see the value in his wisdom. And just, we're seeing that now with, some of these disgusting comments, which are people being negative or vile on the internet. Big surprise, I know, but it's just you see so many people jumping up and down like they want to celebrate this man's passing when he's left behind a daughter, he's left behind a mother, he has siblings, a bunch of other loved ones, people who are still here today who are hurting over his passing, and you see so many negative comments, celebrating that's what he gets and all things like that. And I'm just confused. I'm like, why? Because he held women accountable, because he told women that they have to be valuable to a man as much as a man is valuable to a woman, because he exposed a lot of times that women, they don't want to be traditional women, but they want men to be traditional and do all the same stuff that the men had to do, but want to call you sexist, or want to say women's rights in this 21st century and things like that, when you want the same in return. Because he said he questioned, he made women realize that, like mothers realize, baby mamas realize that if a man's going to take care of your child, you have to show him gratitude for that he doesn't owe you that is a big thing, to have a man be responsible for your child that you brought into. Just common sense things like that upset you. Was it his tone? You didn't like Kevin's tone? Okay, but this is his show and this is how he talks. These women call in. And he would always say that if you want to book me for a private session, pay for my advice, we can do a little bit more professional. But hey, he was on YouTube. He had a platform. He was a content creator. What more do you want from him? He has to make this entertaining. And he was perfectly honest with that. He said that many times. So it's disgusting to see people celebrating a man's passing because of his opinions, because he wanted women to respect the black community or to respect the black men more, and he was advocating for that. He was advocating for men to do better as well, but nobody wants to talk about that. He was advocating for men to act like men and hold themselves accountable, be providers, be leaders. Work hard, strive to attain something before you strive to get a woman. Just, things like that. He wanted us to come together. He often talked about it a lot in our community, how we're so divisive, how we're so against each other. And he wanted us to come together. So I always thank Kevin for everything he's taught me. Like I said, I was a huge fan of his. I watched him all the time, like throughout the day. Clips, whole shows, anything. I always watch him on other people's shows, people reacting to his stuff. I was a huge Kevin fan, still a huge Kevin Samuels fan. Just in shock, can't believe it. But I'm thankful for him. Words of encouragement that he's given out, or the words of wisdom that he's given out to make me want to do better in my life. And I owe a lot of that to Kevin Samuels and the way he worded things. I was so happy when I first found him because finally somebody was talking about women the way I kind of talk about women, or talking about relationships the way I talk about relationships and interacting with women, and how there are consequences to your actions. And a lot of times women don't think there are, that they can just go out and have babies or have multiple partners and be known for doing that, and that a man's just supposed to be okay with that. Like, men don't have preference and standards as well. And so I was so happy to hear him say that. As I listened to him more, I realized he had a lot of information about what men are doing wrong and what they need to do better. And I took that in just as well, and I love that. So just a sad day, sad time, especially for his family, prayers and wishes out to them. I just want to say to the Godfather, Kevin Samuels, thank you so much. I've enjoyed your content so much. I've learned so much. And it's been a great time with you. It's been great having you for however short amount of time you were in my life. You were a blessing from God to give us all this knowledge. And you rest up, man. You deserve it. Rest in power, peace, and positivity, man. Great soldiers, Kevin Samuels, Mr. Samuels, the Godfather. We always love you, man. Okay, so we did have some other news as well. I'm going to go ahead and try to get a little bit more positive atmosphere going on. We talk about what's going on in the rest of the world of celebrity. One of the big things that came out this week was that we had a supposed leaked DM conversation between Kim Kardashian and Ray J. Well, Ray J stated that he was upset that on the newest episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians on Hulu, that he was kind of portrayed as like this evil guy who was blackmailing Kim with, tapes, and that he was going to expose it, and yada, 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 yada. And in the show, she was crying. That's what we talked about, I think, the last episode. She was crying about it. Kanye West had to go get the tapes, and it was a whole big thing. So Ray J is saying that's not fair. That's not how it was. He sent her a whole DM talking about, that this was planned, the tapes. Me and your mother all agreed to it coming out. And I'm tired of y'all acting like I just did something devastating to y'all when this is what y'all wanted. And I was a part. I agreed to it. He said he'd been silent, but this is messing up deals for him now. Ray J's in the tech world. He got the Raycon earbuds and all the other stuff he's working on. So he's meeting with some important people trying to get deals done. And I can see something like this being a negative. So he reached out to her about it. Kim's response was pretty much, she wasn't saying anything negative about him, and she was putting more of the blame on his manager, Wack 100, saying he was stirring things up, talking about there being a second tape. And she said there was no second tape. And all that, I guess all she's saying she got was like any type of copies of the tape that Ray J had, any type of copies of anything that was stating that they had been messing with each other. So she was kind of like putting it, like saying that. And there was also a thing Ray J said about him allegedly, sticking a dildo in her. And, again, she said that nothing. he hadn't done nothing wrong with him. Nothing was wrong on Ray J's end. She even said, hey, watch the show next week. It's going to present you in a more positive light because we're going to be talking about you gave the tapes to Kanye. And he even asked her, well, what should I do now? Because I was going to wild out, but I'm not going to do that anymore. But Ray J did say his team wants a response, to where Kim said, oh, well, she's going to talk to her team. They're going to put out a statement saying that you had nothing to do with this. And, you know, it pretty much seemed like that was it. Like they were going to try to work with each other because she said, like, we both want this past us. We both want to move on. We have families and all that stuff. We don't want this to be, you know, exposed to our children. It's all good and dandy. Well, I don't know what happened, but somehow we got these. It's not clear if Ray J released the DMs or if somebody else was on his phone and saw them or something, or Kim's phone. We never know. Saw them and released those, or if they're even theirs. I tend to think they might be, but, you know, I don't think either side has come out denying them, so they're probably true. But two things I found strange in this. One was her pretty much saying, like, Wack has kind of escalated this thing, and Ray J kind of not questioning that and even saying, okay, well, since you explained to me, now what we do. And I think a lot of times I've heard Wack do things that Ray J doesn't co-sign. A lot of his artists don't co-sign, but I specifically remember one time on Clubhouse, Wack was talking about the tapes, and he was like, I'll release it, I don't care what, if I do it, you know, what Ray J said, something like that. To that point, it was like pretty much saying Ray J don't gotta say. And I don't know if shoot, this might be reaching, but is Wack extorting Ray? Because it seems like he don't get down with a lot of stuff that Wack do. He about his business. Wack say he about his business, but Wack's about get on here and talking about everybody else's personal business. And I think that Ray was like, okay, I'll give y'all the tapes because we just want this over with. But I don't think he was expecting Wack to just be so, Wack 100 to just go so hard about, there is another tape, there's another tape. They was doing multiple tapes. All the stuff he was doing on Clubhouse and saying that there were more tapes and getting into it with Kim and all that stuff he did. I don't know. I don't know if he's extorting him. Is he kind of forcing Ray to keep him as a manager? Does he have something on Ray to make him keep him as a manager? Because it don't seem like he's really too happy with a lot of the things that are going on with Wack. Now, we only seen a very small part of their relationship, so you never know. But it's just something I've been thinking about, just seeing some of the slick stuff he say sometimes. But then I've also heard them talking it on the phone together, and they be talking cool. So I don't know. But then again, when you extort somebody, the best thing you can do is to make them feel like it's all good. So you never know. But the other thing that kind of stuck out to me is that Kim was pretty much saying, like, hopefully after next week's episode, when they see that you gave me the tapes back, this can all blow over and we don't have to hear about this anymore. And that's her problem. She wants to erase her past, but you can't. Everybody knows you have a sex tape. Your kids are going to find out at some point. This will never be over. As long as you are famous, as long as you are in the spotlight making headlines, this will never be over. You will always have to address this again at some point. It's always going to be a tarnish on your legacy. As much as you try to big yourself up and become this fashion icon and you and your family be taken more as like American royalty or whatever, with the change of outfits and the way you present yourself, is more than just, more than just your everyday reality TV trash stars. We have elegance and posh and panache and whatever, and style, whatever. Panache, I think. I don't know. I'm not gonna say words I don't know how to say no more. But as much as you try to do that, it will always be remembered as the girl with the sex tape. As much as you try to reinvent yourself, Kim, you will always be remembered as the girl who made the sex tape. And no amount of time is going to change that. And no amount of episodes showing you got all the footage and it's over is going to change that. That's what you're going to be remembered as. You have to accept that. This thing with you and Ray J coming out, just another, it shows that even more. There's always going to be an appetite to look into this because it was such a huge thing, and you and your family are so big. People are always going to want to go back and look into that sex tape, question if it was real, question if it was really leaked, or if you guys went ahead and did this on purpose. Question if there's multiple tapes. It's always going to be more and more, and eventually your children will see it. It's like, and this is what Kevin Samuels said, women don't want to be held accountable for their past. They want it to just not matter. And that's not how life works. It will always matter. And until you realize that, you'll always be surprised when this stuff comes back up and you have to try to fight it and crying, doing your crying face, being sad. And your kids will find out. They will find out. I will say this. Hopefully this, whatever happens, it stops looking like Ray J is some bad person. And it just shows, hey, this was an agreement between us. And maybe Wack kind of got overboard with it. I don't know. But I don't think either one of them is bad for wanting to make a sex tape. I just think that when you start adding other people into it, it becomes harder and harder for you to control the narrative and control, the footage, But yeah, definitely not trying to bash anybody. They both did this. They both agreed to this. But she has to own it. It made you a star. Now you have to own what comes with it, Kim. So some fool went ahead and decided that he wanted to jump Dave Chappelle, or Dave Chappelle was in the middle of a set at a comedy show. He jumps up on stage, tackles Dave down. They get into like a little wrestling tussle. And then, boy, oh boy, Dave's security came in droves. They picked him up. They beat on him. They stumped him out. The image of this man afterwards, as they had to get, an ambulance for him, it's crazy. His arm is twisted the opposite way. He's got black eyes, bleeding, a big fat knot on his forehead. And they tore this dude up. It was really, 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 really bad. And it just goes to show all y'all people that want to jump these comedians for telling jokes. First of all, y'all not all Will Smith, okay? Y'all are not all Will Smith. Somebody will get hands put on them. This is not the Academy Awards. Y'all not Will Smith, all right? So y'all need to stop playing with these people, especially these rich comedians. You may be able to get that off on lesser known names, which I don't condone it at all. I'm not saying don't do it just because you'll get hurt. I'm saying don't do it because it's wrong. But I'm telling y'all, with these bigger name people, they can afford some big security. They can afford some dudes. And this guy had to find out the hard way. Now he's a rapper, an aspiring rapper, who actually even made a song about Dave Chappelle. So I guess he had some beef with Dave. They said he had a plastic gun and a knife on him. So it could have gotten way, way worse. But fortunately, he didn't try to shoot him first. He tried to tackle him. So that gave security enough time to pull him off of him. Everybody stumped him out. It's the footage of him just being stumped out, just beating him down. And good for Dave that he was in good spirits afterwards. Made a couple jokes about it. They was laughing. He had Jamie Foxx come on stage. Chris Rock came on stage. Made a little joke about, oh, was that Will Smith? So everybody took it in jest, took it in light. Funny that Dave Chappelle was like, I got to stump somebody. I always wanted to do that. I always wanted to stump somebody else. So he was having a good time with it. My thing is, though, if you don't like a comedian, if you don't like what they say, just don't go to their show. But don't be attacking nobody. Don't be attacking nobody, especially over some jokes, some words. They don't know you. So even if they make a comment about you, they don't know you. Like, we all know that happened at the comedy shows. Just don't go or sit in the back. That's what I do when I go to a comedy show. I always try to stay in the back. I don't need y'all laughing at me talking about my life. That's one thing I say. I will never sit at the front of a comedy show. I'm going to always be in the back. I can hear the jokes just well from the back. I don't need you picking me out and all of a sudden I'm getting roasted and I gotta walk out everybody. People laughing at me getting roasted. No, thank you. I'm gonna just be laughing at whoever decided to want to sit up at the front. But yeah, though, don't do that. Don't try to hurt nobody. Don't try to put your hands on nobody. These are comedians. They're gonna joke. Just if you don't like their content, then leave. If you think that you getting clowned too much, then leave, bro, because it'll never end up well for you. Again, you're not Will Smith, so you will get charged with assault. If this man did, and you will go to jail like this man did. Now, I don't know, maybe he will get out and he'll have a name and maybe he'll get a little bit more famous as a rapper from it. Who knows? There's a lot of people who don't like Dave Chappelle, so maybe he'll get invited to places to perform for, anti-Dave Chappelle people. I don't know, but most likely what's going to happen is he's going to, do some time, have to do some community service, something like that, and then he's going to go back to being not heard of again. So was it worth it? No, but I'm just happy that Dave wasn't hurt and was able to make light of the situation and that the guy was arrested. Drake out here draking, and he decided to go ahead and DM or follow somebody's wife on Instagram and then DM her. And this all started when Drake made the comment that, a father is just, supporting their son, and he would do that for his son. He'd be the most loudest. Even if his son is like, I don't know, playing chess or something like that. Something smart. He said he will always show mad support for his son. To where someone posted a comment saying he's probably playing with ghostwriters. Off the allegations that Drake gets ghostwriters. He doesn't write his own music. That was pretty much started during his beef with Meek Mill. So Drake saw this, and Drake responded and said, I'm going to follow your wife. It looks like she's bored and she needs some fun, or something to that extent, like she bored, she needs, some fun in her life. And then he went and followed her, and he DM'd her, and she was like happy for it. She I think she posted it in her story, liked his comments, and he said, I got you, ma. So Drake is Drake, and if y'all don't know, Drake loves to mess with women who have a man. That's like his thing. If he know that you got a man, it makes you more attractive to him, especially if it's a man he don't like or he really wants you. And he be doing it. You remember the story about the singer girl who came, he flew her out to do some music, and her boyfriend came, and he still was able to smash, and it was allegedly he was able to smash. Allegedly that ruined her relationship with her guy, and they were engaged, and they've been together for years. So that, that's Drake's MO. We know that that's what he likes to do. The guy whose wife Drake followed and DM'd, he reposted like, this dude really did that, laughing. But what he posted, we all saw, she was liking the comment. She had it in her story. I don't know, man. I'm not saying she gonna cheat, but I'm just saying there's some things to look at. Like, she ain't been like rah-rah supporting her dude, She like, oh, thanks, Drake, and like being really sweet. But he did this to try to clown your husband. That's her husband. They got kids together and everything. It's like, maybe you should be like, I'm gonna let no lame dude get between me and my husband or something to, make it look better for your guy, because right now it seems like you all happy and Drake is doing this to try to shame your guy. Now, who knows? Maybe they liking it because it's gonna bring some attention to them and they can capitalize off of that. And so maybe they just like, we're not gonna be upset. We're gonna like embrace it so we can, maybe this will bring us a little spotlight, for ourselves. I don't know, man. I'll say if that's what's going on, it's probably something that she's encouraging, because I don't think that too many guys would want to look like a fool. When it comes to their women, I don't think too many guys want to look like that. And I don't think too many women would want their man to look like that unless she playing him and said like, yeah, let's just play into it while she's going to go ahead and continue to DM Drake and they mess around. Because I guarantee you, if the shoe was on the other foot, if like Rihanna or Beyonce or someone like Meg Thee Stallion or Sweetie was making a comment, and then she had said something smart to Sweetie, and Sweetie said, I'm about to DM your man because it looked like he needs some good in his life or some good. You best believe that man better be like, I don't want her, and he better not have liked nothing. He better not have put it on his story. So that, again, another thing, Kevin Samuels talks about how things aren't always fair for men and women in relationships and how women don't really rock for their man. Now it may not be none of that. It may just been like she know what to do and she really don't intend for nothing. And I hope not, because one night with Drake is not worth your relationship, because, okay, you have a fun story to tell, but you can completely ruin your relationship, separate your family, and in a divorce and be alone and have the stigma of the girl who's not loyal. So it's not a good look. But yeah, man, Champagne Poppy strikes again. Drake do not play. And especially when it comes to his son. He's showing y'all that right now. So don't be making jokes about Drake and Drake's son. Because he might talk to your girl. So that's the show for today. Thank you all so much for tuning in again and getting some of this whack wisdom. And I hope that you return next week to get a little bit more. Once again, if you haven't already, please like, comment, subscribe, share this video, hit the notification bell. If it's on YouTube and on the podcast platforms, follow us. Once again, RIP to Kevin Samuels, the Godfather for life, forever, forever, ever, forever. And once again, condolences out to his family and loved ones and to all the fans that he inspired and gave great advice to. This is the WACCast podcast, and I am whacking off.
It's the WACCast podcast, yeah.
Talk whack to me, talk whack to me,
yeah.
Talk whack to me, talk whack
It's
to me.
the WACCast podcast, yeah.
Talk whack to me, talk whack to me,
Yeah.
talk whack to me, talk whack to me.